G'day YouTube, Warple's Onslaught here. It's a cold, grey, miserable day outside, so I'm sort of sitting here feeding the fire and waiting for it to rain. And I just watched a movie on channel by one of my American friends, Hippie Woo Woo Sunshine. How you going, Richard? Concerning the, the title is George Zimmerman did not commit a crime, full stop. And Hippie Woo Woo Sunshine has the advantage of living in Florida, so he's got the Yankee view of it, sort of thing, the Americano view. And he takes the view that under Florida law, no crime was committed, therefore it's kind of surprising that it even went to court, and it's even more surprising that in the political climate of opinion that America finds itself embroiled in, it's more surprising that the jury actually found in the way that they did. No murder, no manslaughter, let him walk free. Now, to the rest of the world, Richard, people who don't live in Florida, it's kind of surprising that such an outcome could be produced. Everybody always grows up thinking that what they grow up with is normal. So I must admit I have an inherent bias towards thinking that the laws I grew up with and learned by in New South Wales, Australia, are fairly normal. And over here, a murder is defined as some action that one person takes with the intention of taking another person's life. If you're intending to kill the other person, then it is murder. However, if it's what they call justifiable homicide or self-defence, then you can get off on murder charges. We'll get back to that later. Manslaughter is when somebody takes an action which they know may cause somebody else to die, but causing the other person to die is not their core main intention, right? They know it's going to cause the other person damage, and they intend to cause them damage, and they are aware that it may kill them, but they are not intending to kill them. That's manslaughter. Something that you've done that causes somebody to die, but you only meant to hurt them. That's manslaughter. Right. Justifiable homicide and self-defence, well, they were fairly clear-cut when I was a kid. Self-defence allowed you to use equal force to defend yourself from fear of further attack. Okay? So if somebody comes up to you and jabs you with a toothpick, you are not permitted to take their toothpick off them and stab them with it. That would be you assaulting them, causing actual bodily harm with a weapon to whip that toothpick. So the moment you take the toothpick off the other person, it's your toothpick, not theirs. So, if you're of a punitive mind and somebody attacks you with a toothpick and you wish to claim self-defence, first you must allow them to strike a blow at you, and then you have to be genuinely in fear of further blows. And then you can grab a hold of them by the hand, tell them to let go of their toothpick, and if they refuse, you can sew their nose together with their toothpick, or stick them in the eyeballs so they can't see and they can't, hurt you with it again. You can do things with their weapon while they are holding it, while you are attempting to overpower them to prevent them from hurting you, right? Or you can pull your own toothpick, and you can sword fight with toothpicks with them, right? But you're not allowed to get in an argument with somebody knowing that you've got a gun in your pocket and they don't know you've got a gun, and escalate the argument to the point where it becomes fisticuffs, and then decide, oh shit, I'm in fear of my life, I'm getting a punch in the head while I've got my head on the pavement. I might get my skull fractured, therefore I'll just pull out my 16-shot semi-automatic sidearm and start poking 45 calibre holes through the cardiopulmonary system of this 17-year-old child, not old enough to vote, not some wicked, evil stranger danger to the community, but a kid walking from the shop to his father's house because he's been kicked out by his mother because he's been dragged up in some domestic suburban Brady Bunch shithole disaster in the suburbs of America. It doesn't matter if once upon a time he rode a horse on a juvenile detention centre, because George Zimmerman didn't know who he was. That's why he decided that, he looks like one of those assholes who always gets away with it, which is what he was recorded as saying. George Zimmerman should be judged on everything that happened from the moment he disobeyed the advice of the emergency telephone call operator. George Zimmerman made that encounter occur. He decided it was a black kid wearing a hoodie. A week or two earlier, somebody else had been robbed and they thought that was a black kid wearing a hoodie. So therefore, he decided one black kid, all black kids. And he was a cop wannabe and a gun fancier. So no doubt he'd read up and studied all the provisions of the Self-Defence Act, and he knew that all he had to do was get somebody to start punching him and he'd be allowed to shoot him. It's what he wanted to do. Okay, and Florida's got laws that says that's okay. Well, it's entirely possible that federal prosecutors will decide that he's done shit that's not legal in America, even if it is legal in Florida. It's entirely possible that somebody will sue him in the civil court for wrongful death. It's entirely possible that his karma, his cosmic scoreboard payback, is going to be living with himself forever and a day. And it's entirely possible that he's never going to feel safe ever again, because he's going to be afraid that there's going to be some hot-headed, young, angry person who wants to settle his score for him. I reckon he would have been better off pleading guilty to manslaughter and taking his time. He did the crime. He was not a neighbourhood watch captain. He was kicked out of the local neighbourhood watch because he kept making false calls about paranoid fantasies that he dreamed up, which had nothing to do with reality. He was kicked out of the neighbourhood watch, so he started his own citizen watch or something, in which he was the captain of a platoon of one. It is ridiculous to think that anybody is allowed to carry a weapon all day long just in case they meet somebody they want to shoot, in case they want to be frightened of them, and then when they shoot somebody for walking home from the shop, they're going to be allowed to get away with it scot-free. I don't believe the universe is so constructed, and I reckon George Zimmerman will watch his life turn to turds, and he'll wish that he was in jail. But anyway, every population gets the government they deserve. That's why they elect them, that's why they obey them, that's why they pay taxes to them. If the Florida laws are shitty, it's because that's what the Florida people said they wanted. And I, sitting here in Australia, can't do jack shit about it. I've been watching this whole thing, trying to get as balanced a view as possible, listening not only to the little bits that hippie woo-woo Sunshine has had to say, and he's sort of the middle ground. I've also been listening to Piro 314, and Piro, like myself, tends to think that George Zimmerman deserves to go down for manslaughter, but he probably should have gone for murder. And of course then there's Tom Canate, who, as far as he's concerned, any time a white fella with a gun shoots a black fella for being young, that's okay, because race riots just need to happen, you know. It's part of fulfilling his prophecy for the New World Order and the Rothschilds bankrupting America or something. It's an involved conspiracy theory. But it means that I've been paying attention to the broad gamut of American opinion. And, yeah, fucking hell, I'm glad I don't live there. Warple's on a lot to YouTube. Take it easy, fellas. Ciao.